Well, right now, the Republicans certainly are continuing to discuss this issue across the aisle with the Democrats. But the truth is, Republicans have already done their job. And we've passed the funding measure that would fund government. We did that back in the mid-September. Democrats continue now in the Senate more than 10 times to vote against that continuing resolution that's clean. It's nonpartisan. It's something they voted for in past years, but they simply refuse to do so now. But we're so proud that President Trump would be in the middle of this to make sure that our troops are getting paid, to make sure that those that are on the front lines are getting paid throughout this process. It's a tough situation, but we're working through it together.
And sir, tell me, from your standpoint, what's the message to folks listening out there, Americans right now in this time?
Well, I think Representative Moran just told you. Republicans have done their job. Donald J. Trump was elected by 77 million Americans. He won the popular vote last November. Our colleagues on the other side of the aisle learned nothing from the November election, and they keep doubling down on things that Americans don't want. We sent over a clean CR. Nathaniel, you're right. We voted for it on September 19th, well in advance of the September 30th funding deadline. And what we have is we have Democrats. Remember, they have a special rule over in the Senate. On the House, you just need a simple majority to get something passed. We did that. A clean CR, something that Chuck Schumer and the Democrats supported just 6 months ago, and something that they voted for 13 times under President Obama because of the rule that they have to get 60 votes to get the bill to the floor. We need 7 Democrats. And guess what? They refuse to give us those votes to reopen the government. They're causing significant damage. I mean, to your state, the great state of Texas, according to some measurement, it would be over $6 billion a month is what it's costing Texans and their economy. You've got over 200,000 federal employees. The list goes on and on. You've got over 2 million, I believe it is, correct me if I'm wrong, or maybe it's 1.4 million SNAP recipients in Texas. And the issue here is, yes, President Trump and his leadership has tried to keep these things funded, but the longer this goes on, the harder that's going to become. Just our servicemen and women, right? Over 1 million servicemen and women. He made sure they got paid in the middle of the month. If we get to November, it's not going to be as easy.
And you mentioned that. How long do you think this lasts?
It should be over tonight. I think they've already voted, and I think, or they're in the process of voting in the Senate. It likely will not pass. Which is unfortunate. They had their Hate America rally on Saturday here in Washington, D.C. The rumor was that they had to wait until after that, but now it sounds like they might want to drag this on longer. What has happened is, if you watched on Saturday here on the Mall, you had Marxists and communists calling President Trump a fascist. Now, think about the irony in that. A guy who not only won the Electoral College, but won the popular vote. That, by the way, is now the mainstream Democrat Party, and that's the problem that I think their leadership has.
Yeah, and they just don't know which direction they want to go. But what they do know is they want to oppose what President Trump is proposing at every stopgap. And right now, the Democrats are the sole blockade between the government reopening. They're the sole reason why government has not reopened. We need those 7 votes in the Senate from the Democrat side to do so. There's a lot of other issues that they want to try to bring up, but those issues are for a different day. They take longer conversations, and they shouldn't be able to hold the American people hostage and government hostage in the meantime while we try to work those issues out. We need this clean funding to progress, to get back to business for the American people instead of politicizing this.
And Congressman, I found it striking. You took several questions from the veterans about the shutdown. It's something everyone's curious about. Obviously, our veterans, people who have fought for our freedom, defended our freedom, they want to know what's happening in Washington to figure this out. What did you take away from the questions the veterans were asking? Some of them are your constituents.
Yeah, well, quite frankly, it's embarrassing that government is shut down because of what Chuck Schumer and the Democrats on the Senate side have done. When you're looking at veterans that have given so much and sacrificed so much for the liberty and the freedom to be able to be part of the supposedly the best and the highest parliamentary group in the world, and yet we can't pass funding because the Democrats want to politicize that. When you're looking at a group of veterans that have given so much to sacrifice for the liberty to have that responsibility, we need to fulfill our responsibility and our obligation to them and to so many others that are serving the American people.
final thoughts? Anything I haven't asked you about that either of you would like to say?
No, I would just dovetail on that last comment. When it comes to our veterans, Blake, it's not about being a Republican or a Democrat. It's about making sure you take care of the people who were willing to take care of us. Same thing with our servicemen and women. Should not be based on partisan politics. This should be based on doing the right thing for the people of this country. And frankly, the Republicans have done that. We're going to continue to do that. And we need our colleagues on the other side of the aisle to start stepping up and putting Americans first in front of their partisan politics.